I remember the day I first heard about the old man's diary. It was a quiet, drizzly afternoon when whispers of a long-forgotten secret began to circulate in our small town. A secret that would eventually unravel the mysterious past of Harold Hal Bellington, a quiet, dignified gentleman whose life, at first glance, seemed to be nothing more than a series of ordinary days marked by routine and solitude. Yet, hidden within the worn leather cover of his tattered diary lay a tale of love, loss, and a secret daughter living far away. A secret so carefully guarded that even Hal himself had never spoken of it to anyone. Hal was a man of few words and even fewer confidences. For decades, he had lived in a modest home on the outskirts of town, a place where the autumn leaves whispered ancient secrets and the wind seemed to carry the echoes of a bygone era. His neighbors, though kind-hearted, always sensed that there was more to his story than met the eye. Some said he had once been a vibrant adventurer. Others speculated that he had suffered great personal loss. None, however, could have imagined the true nature of his hidden past. One autumn day, when the sky was heavy with gray clouds and the first chills of winter crept in, Hal's wife, Miriam, discovered the diary quite by accident. Miriam was a kind woman, a gentle soul with silver-streaked hair and eyes that had witnessed decades of love and hardship. Though Hal had long passed away, his memory remained alive in the quiet corners of their home. While sorting through old boxes in the attic, Miriam found a small, leather-bound journal, its cover soft with age and its pages yellowed by time. The diary, as it turned out, was not just a collection of mundane notes, but a repository of Hal's innermost confessions, memories, and secrets that he had locked away for reasons he never fully explained. As Miriam began to read, each carefully written word unraveled a tapestry of memories, a journey back to a time when Hal was not the reserved, silent figure he had become in his later years, but a young man full of hope, passion, and hidden pain. The diary told a story of a secret love and a hidden daughter born in a distant land, Ecuador, a land known for its vibrant culture, lush landscapes, and a people who cherished family above all else. Hal had met the woman who would become the mother of his child during a fateful sojourn abroad, a brief yet transformative period in his youth when the world still shimmered with endless possibility. The woman, whose name Miriam never saw written on the fragile pages, but whose presence loomed large in every line, had died shortly after giving birth, leaving Hal with a child he could never bring home with him. In his diary, Hal wrote of how he had kept the existence of his daughter a secret, fearful that revealing the truth would only bring pain, both for himself and for the little girl who, he believed, deserved a life free from the complications of a fractured family. His heart, weighed down by guilt and sorrow, had chosen silence. Instead, he had spent his remaining years in quiet resignation, silently mourning the loss of a chance at a complete life and a chance to be a father. The diary was filled with poignant details, descriptions of long, sleepless nights filled with regret, secret visits to the only photograph he had of his daughter, a faded image of a small, bright-eyed girl playing in a sunlit courtyard, and musings on a life that might have been different if fate had allowed him to tell the truth. Miriam, reading those intimate pages, felt her heart shatter with every word. Though she had always known Hal as a man of unwavering reserve, she had never suspected that his past held such profound sorrow. As she turned each page, she discovered not only the weight of Hal's secrets, but also the tender, hidden love he had carried for a daughter he never had the chance to hold. Miriam, whose own life had been defined by kindness and the belief that love could heal even the deepest of wounds, could not bear the thought that a child, innocent and longing for a father, was left alone in a foreign land. Determined to honor Hal's memory by bringing light into the darkness he had so carefully concealed, she resolved to search for the daughter he had mentioned so cryptically, even if it meant crossing oceans and borders to do so. And so began Miriam's journey, a quest that would take her far from the familiar streets of our town to the vibrant, sun-dappled country of Ecuador. With only the diary as her guide and a heart filled with both hope and apprehension, she set out on a path fraught with uncertainty and hidden perils. The diary, written in Hal's careful hand, contained hints and clues scattered like breadcrumbs across its many pages. It spoke of a small village nestled high in the Andean mountains, a place where traditions were as ancient as the earth itself and where the memory of a young girl with bright, curious eyes lingered in the hearts of the villagers. Miriam traveled with nothing but her resolve, a small suitcase of belongings, and the quiet determination to fulfill what she believed was her destiny. As she boarded the creaking bus that would take her into the heart of Ecuador, the diary clutched tightly in her hand, she could not help but feel that she was about to embark on the most important journey of her life. The landscape outside the window changed gradually. The familiar flat roads gave way to winding paths leading to mountains draped in mist, and the air grew thicker with the scent of earth and rain. Each mile traveled deepened her sense of anticipation and dread, as she imagined the daughter she had never known and the man whose secrets had shaped the course of so many lives. In Ecuador, Miriam found herself enveloped by a world that was both foreign and familiar, a land where the smiles of strangers were as warm as the tropical sun and where the hardships of life were met with a resilient, unyielding spirit. She arrived in a bustling city, its streets alive with the chatter of markets and the aroma of exotic spices, yet her focus remained fixed on the remote village described in the diary. Local guides and kind-hearted souls eventually led her along narrow, winding roads that climbed into the highlands, where the air was thin and the silence of the mountains spoke of timeless mysteries. The journey was not without its challenges. Miriam encountered unexpected delays, language barriers, and moments of solitude that made her question whether she was chasing a dream that might never be realized. Yet, every time she felt the weight of loneliness press upon her, she would pull out the diary and reread Hal's words, finding in them a strength that spurred her onward. The diary recounted Hal's bittersweet memories of a daughter whose laughter had once filled his heart, and each line served as a reminder that somewhere in this vast, beautiful country, that same laughter still echoed, waiting to be heard once more. After many days of arduous travel, through rain-soaked roads and across bridges that creaked under the passage of time, Miriam finally arrived at the small village that Hal had mentioned. It was a place that seemed to exist out of time. Narrow cobblestone streets meandered between weathered houses with brightly painted doors, and the community radiated a sense of unity and quiet resilience. The villagers regarded Miriam with cautious curiosity as she explained that she was searching for someone very dear, a girl whose life had been touched by the echoes of a distant love. Word of her quest spread slowly at first, whispered in the warm afternoons and carried on the gentle breezes that swept through the village. Miriam's earnestness, her gentle demeanor, and the palpable sadness in her eyes eventually won the hearts of the villagers, who began to recall a little girl who had once been cared for by a compassionate old man, a man who had kept her existence hidden from the world out of a deep-seated sense of guilt and sorrow. One elder, with a face etched by decades of sunlight and hardship, finally spoke of the girl in hushed tones. He described her as having hair the color of rich, dark soil, eyes that sparkled with an inner light, and a smile that could illuminate even the darkest days. He recalled that she had been cared for by a kind family after her mother's untimely passing, and that she had grown up quietly, her memories of her father fading like distant dreams. Miriam listened intently, her heart pounding with a mix of hope and trepidation. With the elder's guidance, she was led to a modest home on the edge of the village, where a young woman of about 20, a woman who bore an uncanny resemblance to the faded photograph in Hal's diary, sat quietly by a window. When their eyes met, time seemed to slow. In that brief, charged moment, Miriam saw reflected in the young woman the longing of a father's lost love, the quiet sorrow of a secret kept too long, and the promise of a reunion that defied the ravages of time and distance. The girl, whose name was Isabella, had grown up surrounded by love in the village, but she had always felt a lingering emptiness, a part of her heart that yearned for something she could neither name nor understand. At first, Isabella was hesitant, uncertain of this stranger who claimed to have come in search of her. Yet, As Miriam gently recounted the story of a lost diary and a secret past, a story filled with the raw emotions of love, regret, and undying hope, the barriers between them began to crumble. Tears welled in Isabella's eyes as she listened to the tale of her father, the man who had carried her in his heart despite a lifetime of silence, and the sacrifices he had made to protect her from a painful reality. Over the following days, a quiet but powerful bond blossomed between Miriam and Isabella. In the soft glow of Ecuadorian evenings, as the sun dipped behind the towering peaks and painted the sky with hues of amber and violet, the two women shared long conversations. They spoke of family, of lost time, and of the unspoken promise that love, no matter how hidden or delayed, could always find its way back. Isabella listened to the recorded memories of her father's youthful hopes and sorrows, and in each word, she felt the gentle pull of a destiny that had long been denied to her. Miriam, moved by the resilience and tenderness of this young woman, vowed to help reunite her with the father she had never known, a promise that would honor Hal's legacy and mend the broken pieces of a life left in shadow. The journey back from the village was as emotional as it was transformative. With Isabella by her side, Miriam set out on a new chapter of this extraordinary quest, a quest to bring the daughter to the land of her father, to the United States, where Hal had once lived and where his memories still lingered in the quiet corners of a modest home filled with relics of a bygone era. The voyage was filled with moments of laughter and tears as the trio navigated the challenges of visas, travel arrangements, and the overwhelming weight of a past that could not be undone. Isabella, whose heart was both fragile and fiercely determined, embraced the uncertainty of the journey with a courage that belied her years. Miriam, with her boundless kindness and gentle resolve, became both a guide and a guardian, ensuring that every step they took was imbued with the hope of a new beginning. Arriving in the United States, Isabella was greeted by a land of contrasts, a place where the relentless pace of modern life clashed with the quiet dignity of memories preserved in time. The house that had once belonged to Hal stood as a silent sentinel on a quiet street, its windows reflecting the faded light of bygone days and its walls whispering tales of love and regret. For years, Hal had lived in solitude, burdened by secrets too painful to share, until the discovery of his diary had awakened in Miriam a compassion that transcended bitterness. Now, with Isabella in her arms, Miriam felt that the past, with all its sorrow and silence, could finally be reconciled with the present. The reunion was bittersweet. Isabella, stepping cautiously into the home that had belonged to a father she had never known, felt an overwhelming mixture of emotions. The scent of old paper and worn wood filled the air, a fragrance that carried with it both the weight of loss and the promise of healing. Every corner of the house told a story. A faded photograph here, a handwritten note there, and in a small drawer, the remnants of Hal's personal belongings, each item steeped in memories of a life filled with both joy and regret. As Isabella explored the quiet rooms, Miriam gently guided her, sharing the fragments of a story that had remained hidden for far too long. In time, the truth of Hal's secret life and the love that had bound him to Isabella began to weave itself into the fabric of their shared existence. The story of the lost diary, once a painful relic of regret, was transformed into a beacon of hope, a reminder that even the deepest wounds could be healed through compassion, understanding, and the unyielding power of love. Isabella's arrival marked not only the reunion of a long-separated daughter with her father's legacy, but also the beginning of a new chapter in the lives of everyone touched by the story. In the quiet moments of reflection, as the sun set over the modest house and cast long shadows across the floor, Miriam would sometimes gaze at the diary, a testament to a life filled with secrets and sacrifices, and feel that perhaps every heart carries a hidden truth waiting to be revealed. The days turned into weeks, and slowly, the memories of a lonely past began to recede, replaced by the promise of new beginnings. Isabella found solace in the gentle rhythms of everyday life, The simple joys of shared meals, long walks in the park, and conversations that stretched late into the night. Miriam, ever the compassionate soul, became a cherished member of the small community that had come to honor the memory of Hal. A community that, despite its quiet demeanor, understood that every story, no matter how painful, was a tapestry woven with both light and shadow. And though Hal was no longer among them, his presence lingered in every whispered word of gratitude, every tear shed in remembrance of a love that had transcended time and distance. In the years that followed, the home that had once been a repository for secrets became a haven for healing. Isabella grew into a confident young woman, her eyes alight with the promise of a future that honored the sacrifices of the past while embracing the possibilities of tomorrow. She often found herself reflecting on the extraordinary journey that had brought her from the remote hills of Ecuador to the quiet streets of a small American town, a journey that had been set in motion by a lost diary and the kindness of a woman determined to rewrite a tragic story. Miriam, whose own life had been enriched by the courage and resilience of the people around her, continued to serve as a guiding light, a gentle reminder that every heart has the capacity to love, forgive, and start anew. As I recount this tale, I invite you to pause and consider the delicate interplay of fate, secrecy, and the transformative power of compassion. Hal's diary, once a hidden record of sorrow, became the catalyst for a remarkable reunion, a testament to the belief that even the most deeply buried truths, when met with kindness, can blossom into something beautiful. It is a story of an old man who, burdened by regret, chose silence over revelation, of a daughter who grew up unaware of the father who loved her from afar, and of a woman whose tender heart dared to reach across continents to bridge the gap between loss and love. This narrative is not merely a chronicle of hidden pasts and unexpected journeys, but a celebration of the resilience of the human spirit, a reminder that even in the face of overwhelming odds, the bonds of family and love can triumph over the shadows of secrecy. In the soft, fading light of an American dusk, as the voices of the past mingled with the gentle laughter of new beginnings, the legacy of Hal's quiet remorse and Miriam's boundless kindness lived on, a legacy etched in every tear, every smile, and every whispered promise that the heart, no matter how broken, can find its way back to hope. And so, dear listener, as you close your eyes and let the echoes of this long, winding tale settle into the recesses of your mind, remember that every life is a tapestry of light and dark threads, of secrets hidden and truths revealed. There is beauty in the struggle to overcome the pain of yesterday, and in every lost diary lies the potential for a new chapter, a chance for love to flourish in unexpected places and for hearts long separated by fate to finally beat as one. May the story of Hal's lost diary and the miraculous reunion of a hidden daughter serve as a beacon of hope for all who have ever carried a secret in their hearts. In the gentle embrace of compassion and the quiet strength of forgiveness, we find the courage to face our past, to honor our memories, and to step boldly into a future where love, in all its mysterious and powerful forms, can heal even the deepest wounds.